Hey all, this is Rhythm Shift back with another toy review. Today I'm taking a look at the Star Wars Black Series 40th anniversary, The Empire Strikes Back, Bespin Luke Skywalker figure. That's quite a mouthful to say. But yeah, taking a look at some Star Wars today and focusing on Empire Strikes Back, which I think like most people happens to be my favourite Star Wars film. For a number of reasons, but I'm not getting to that just yet. I want to talk about the figure. So I'm pretty new to collecting Star Wars Black Series because, as I said on a previous review, I think for the Mandalorian Stormtrooper, I said I saw these figures come out in 2013 and I thought, oh, 6-inch Star Wars figures, this could be my opportunity to jump on board in collecting Star Wars. But the thing I noticed at the time is that the face sculpts are absolutely terrible. I think the figure that I saw in the shop was the Return of the Jedi Slave Leia figure, and the face was abysmal. So I thought, you know what, man, I'm going to sidestep this line until Hasbro can get better with their face sculpting technology. And now in 2021, I find that they've got vastly better with their face sculpting technology. And as a result, this was the prime time for me to jump on board in collecting some Star Wars figures. So, first of all, let's talk about the packaging, because I've got this figure out of the box. And the packaging is very reminiscent, for those of you who are old enough to remember, the vintage Kenner Star Wars line from 1977 till around 1985, and the line was discontinued. But they used to come on cards like this, and as you can see, Hasbro's tried to recreate that feeling by putting the Kenner Parker logo there, and you've got this great photograph from the actual film Empire Strikes Back. You've got Mark Hamill there in his Bespin fatigues. This is the scene where he's trying to rescue Han, Leia and Chewie from Bespin Cloud City, but little does he know he's walking into a trap set by Darth Vader. So on the back of the box, I hope that's not a spoiler for those of you who haven't seen the film, but come on, man, the film's what, 40 years old? If you haven't seen it by now, then you need to stop this video and go and watch it. This is a great film. So here you've got some of the other figures in the line. We see we've got Luke, who I've got here in his Bespin fatigues, Yoda, Leia, Hoth Leia, who I've got, Han Solo in his Bespin outfit, which I've got, and you've got an AT-AT driver, and I haven't got that figure yet. And yeah, so the packaging is quite nice. You get this 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back logo in silver at the top, and you can see it's a great shot of the scene when Luke enters the carbon chamber and faces Darth Vader, which is the scene that follows this scene. And his outfit's pretty interesting, man. I know a lot of people have wondered, where the hell did he get these fatigues from? But I think this is what he actually wears underneath his X-Wing fighter suit. So that's why he's wearing these, you call them military fatigues, I guess. But yeah, let's take a look at the figure. So let's get this box out of the way. So the figure himself is pretty cool. As I said, I waited a while, more than a while, like 7 years, for them to get better with their face sculpting. But now Hasbro is using digital face printing technology, and it really shows, because this head, it looks a lot like Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker in the original trilogy. See, this face is great, and you know, this is the face when he's first entering Cloud City. So he hasn't been beaten up and his suit's all ripped and his face is all bruised and scarred after facing Darth Vader. This is when he's first entering Cloud City. So it's a good representation of the figure for that point in time. The sculpting detail is pretty good. But the trouble is this is an old buck. I think this figure came out many years ago. And all I've done is given him a new head, which I can't complain because the head looks great. But the thing that hurts this figure is the articulation. So let's look at it. He's got left and right head movement. Turn his head left to right. He can look somewhat up, a little bit down. He has a full 360 rotation on the shoulder joint, and he can move outwards, but it's a bit stiff when you get to this kind of point. Can't go any further. He doesn't have any butterfly joints, and that's something that I'd say is one of the things that shows this figure is a little bit old in terms of the body. The body sculpt itself is a bit of an old sculpt. He has single jointed elbows which only bend that far. He has a swivel at the elbow, like that. He can rotate the wrists, and on his wrists he's got an up and down motion, which is good for holding the lightsaber, so you can move the wrist up and down. And the same on this hand, it's also an up and down motion, which is great because you can get him into two-handed lightsaber poses. So let's take a look at that. You can put him in a stance like this, which is good. So if you're going to have him in a lightsaber duel, you can have him holding the lightsaber with two hands, which is really, really nice. So moving down the body, he has a waist rotation like that. You can look somewhat back that far, not very much going forward on the ab crunch. Yeah. Leg movement, he can kick forward this far, can't kick back very far at all, but it's alright. He has he can't do the splits, he can only go that far laterally on his legs. But the good thing is that he's got this belt here, and the belt itself isn't glued to his leg, which allows free range of movement for posing him. Like, because on Han Solo, Bespin, they glued the lower gun to the leg, which is annoying, but I just took an X-Acto knife and cut it myself to allow Han Solo to have a wider range of leg motion. But it's just annoying when designers do silly things like that when creating a toy. But nonetheless, this is okay. He can rotate at the upper thigh like that. He's got double jointed knees, so he can get a deep knee bend like that. He has no lower leg articulation, but the feet can pivot side to side and they can move somewhat up and somewhat down a little bit. Not much, but it's okay. But it's just, you have to realise that Star Wars Black Series figures aren't as well articulated as something, say, like some of the other Hasbro lines, like for example Marvel Legends or G.I. Joe Classified or Power Rangers Lightning. Star Wars Black Series figures aren't going to be as articulated as that for the most part, but they're still good and they still look like, you know, characters from the film, which is what you really want. So the sculpt is really, really good. For accessories, he comes with his lightsaber, which you can see in his hand right here. You can take this out of his hand, and the way the lightsaber works is that you've got the hilt handle and the blade, so you can actually disconnect the blade by pulling it out, which is always a bit precarious for me because the plastic always feels like it's going to break. So I don't like doing that too often. But as you can see, you can separate the lightsaber like that, so you can have the lightsaber in an off setting. And what you can do is, on his belt here, he has a small clip, which the handle of the lightsaber can just clip onto there. If it holds, it's a bit tricky to fit it on. Let me get it on, hang on. There we go. It's a bit of a tight fit on the hole of the lightsaber, but once you get it on, let me try it the other way around because that's not working. Yeah, that's better. No, not much better, but hang on. This is really annoying actually. Right. It's supposed to look something like that. So his lightsaber is supposed to hang from his belt, as you can see here. Let's turn this down a bit. So that's how it's supposed to look, but to be honest, it's a bit fiddly to get it on the belt, and it just kind of, I suppose if you want him in a neutral position, oh, there it is a bit better. The belt was a bit twisted. So it's supposed to hang from his belt buckle like that. So if you want to get him in a non-combat pose, you can do so. And he's got his lightsaber there ready to be drawn, which is pretty accurate to the film, if I'm honest. So that looks good, and he does look good with his gun holstered like that as well. Like he's sneaking around Bespin Cloud City before he bumps into Boba Fett and gets in a brief shootout with him as he's carrying the carbonized Han Solo. But he's got his gun holster here, and it has a little clip that pegs in to secure it. You lift this clip up, you can pull his blaster out. Forgive me, I don't remember the name of this particular gun, but the sculpting detail on it's very nice. It looks just like the film, and that can fit in his hand. On his right hand he has a trigger finger, so you put that in there and you've got Luke Skywalker ready to try and rescue Han and Leia from Bespin. I can hear the music in my head as he's sneaking around Bespin Cloud City. So yeah, I think he looks pretty damn cool. So there he is from the front, and here he is from the back. And really it's the face sculpt that makes this figure. Now, I managed to pick this figure up on sale for a very good price. What I'm thinking of doing is creating a custom version of this figure where he's in his post-duel state. So where his face is, you know, bloodied and bruised, and his fatigues all cut up, and yeah, I think I might do a custom of that. I've seen other people doing it, it looks really good, but you know, this is good to have for a pre-Vader battle, Luke Skywalker. So there he is, and we'll just take a look at his height. I always forget to do this straight away, but height wise he stands at about under 6 inches, just under 6 inches tall. So this Luke figure is not a very tall figure at all. Actually, it's about more like 5 and 3/4 actually. So it's under the 6-inch mark. And I've mentioned this before because if you take other 6-inch figures, say for example if I put a Power Rangers Lightning Collection figure in here, Luke looks very small compared to other 6-inch lines. 6-inch lines such as Marvel Legends, Star Wars, Marvel Legends, Power Rangers Lightning, and G.I. Joe Classified. So he looks a bit small. But if you put other Star Wars figures in there with him, so let's put a Black Series Mandalorian Stormtrooper, I think he's going to scale very well with that. So relative to Star Wars, he'll scale perfectly. But relative to other 6-inch lines, Star Wars Black Series does tend to come up a little bit small. So here he is alongside a Stormtrooper. I think that looks good. I think he looks a decent height compared to a Stormtrooper. So let's take Red Ranger out. There you go. Pose wise, the articulation's alright. You can get... Now you can't cross his hands to hold the gun with 2 hands, unfortunately, so he's going to have to do a single-handed shooting pose, but you can get something like that. So he can be alright. There you go. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Pretty good. And I mean, as I said, I'm just starting my Black Series collection. The first 2 figures I got was the... I think I bought Luke and the Stormtrooper at the same time actually, because I don't think I'd have wanted a villain without a hero. And Luke is obviously, you know, one of the main heroes, so I thought I'd pick him up. But he's a good figure. He's a very good figure. I do like him. And it does make me want to collect more of these Star Wars Black Series figures. Would I recommend him? Yeah. I mean, this is an integral part of the Star Wars original trilogy story. I mean, it's when he's wearing his Bespin fatigues and doing what he's doing on Bespin Cloud City that a lot of the story is revealed. Not to spoil anything, but yeah, this is a very iconic outfit for Luke in the Star Wars trilogy. So, well, I should call it the Star Wars saga, shouldn't I? But yeah, the original trilogy. So yeah, it's a good figure. Would I recommend him? Yes, very much. Pros, great face sculpt. The price was excellent as well. As I said, I picked this figure up on sale, so I only paid I think £14 for it or something like that, compared to, you know, full price. I think it's £14 I paid. Sorry, it escapes me off the top of my head. But yeah, sculpting is great. Only hindrance is the articulation. But you know, if you're creative, you can work around that. So I think it's a cool figure, and I'm definitely going to be picking up some more Star Wars Black Series, because now the face sculpts are at a point where I could be happy to have these in my collection. So I hope that little review is helpful. Yeah, not much more to say other than, yeah, this figure's pretty cool. If you can find him on sale, great. If he's full price, I'd still say he's worth getting, because, as I said, this is a very pivotal moment in the Star Wars saga for Luke. So it's good to have a version of him in this costume. So yeah, I hope that review's been helpful, and take care, and it's on to the next one. Yeah, have a good day.